Hi everyone, Pastor Jason Abbott here from Glade Baptist Church. One of the things we've been talking about in our teaching series, Back to the Basics, is the basics of Christianity. And one thing that every Christian should have an understanding about and appreciation for is God's grace. But that's not necessarily the case. A poll that was done not that long ago said that 54% of Christians could not define what God's grace was. They didn't have an appreciation for it. They didn't have an understanding that they could articulate. Now that's a pretty big percentage, 54%. But when you look at it in the life of Jesus in the New Testament, and you become aware of it, and how great it is, and abundant it is, when you start to read back into the Old Testament, you can't unsee it, you can't unknow it. And so you're reintroduced to a God of grace, and it just comes off the pages in chapter like maybe never before. You can't unknow the fact that he's a gracious God and how he's acting in history to show that to us. It's kind of like that movie from years back with Bruce Willis in it called The Sixth Sense. And if you haven't seen it, this is a bit of a spoiler alert. The movie basically goes through, and at the very end, you find out that Bruce Willis has been dead the whole time. And so all these scenes beforehand, he's actually been dead. But you didn't know that. So if you go back and you watch the movie again, you see it and you go, wow, he wasn't talking to that person. And in that other scene, they weren't talking to him and they never noticed him. And you start realizing how it was showing up. But you can't unknow it after you see it at the end. You can't unsee it. Well, that's how it is with God's grace. You can't unknow it once you get a glimpse of it. And so you go back into the Old Testament and it shows up again and again and again. He's a God of grace and he loves us. That John 3:16 gospel is a God of grace. Let me encourage you with that today, that the kingdom is wide open. And what that means is everybody's invited. Everybody gets in the same way. And everybody can meet the requirements in Christ Jesus. Let me encourage you with that today.